What's up, everybody? Episode 69 is here. It's a wonder why I'm doing the intro for episode 69, but they needed the best, most mature marketer to get that done. We're talking Prime Day. We're talking discounts. Thank you, Fulfill. Thank you, Northbeam. Thank you, Postscript. 3 softwares I personally use and approve of. And if you ever want to try these softwares out, just interact with Ridge in some way. Go to our website, check stuff out. You'll get Postscript pop-ups, Postscript text messages. Your inventory will be routed through Fulfill. And we probably got you there will be a Northbeam ad unit. So thank you, everybody. All right, let me talk to you about why I use Fulfill as my ERP. So the number one name in ERPs is NetSuite. To use NetSuite, it costs at least $100,000 a year. Like, honestly, a normal NetSuite contract is like $300,000 to $500,000 per year. Plus, you have to pay a third-party consultant, and it's always breaking or whatever, right? That's because NetSuite is owned by Oracle or Salesforce or whatever, and like it is the only way the company makes money, and it is a bloated piece of malware that has to support millions of people and millions of salaries and whatever, right? It's old technology from the 90s. Fulfill is modern, bootstrapped ERP built for today. So e-commerce first, Shopify first, that's the real, before they were a sponsor, they've been my ERP for like 4 years at this point. And it's because they're the only modern option available at a reasonable price point. And they're thinking about the future, right? I mean, they haven't raised billions of dollars, right? I think they did one seed round one time. So they're a bootstrap SaaS company. The reason why that's important is, I don't know if you've ever invested a lot of money into a SaaS tool just for them to go bankrupt, right? Or the news right now is that AMP just got bought by MailChimp, and you have to stop using AMP. And they just became the gold standard of email pop-up, and now you can't use them anymore. That's what happens with VC-backed companies. Fulfill is here for the long term. They're thinking with a long-term vision of this. And that's why I've used them for 4+ years, and I'm going to stick with them. Not only because it's a massive pain in the ass to change your ERP, so like I'm very incentivized to never leave, but it's because they're delivering good service at a good value with a long-term mentality. So what does that mean? They're shipping features that have the biggest impact, not features that, will help them land the next client that they need to be profitable. They're trying to make us happy so that we invest more and stay longer into this program. Investors aren't the customers are the customers. Kind of like Ridge, our customers are our customers. So that's why I love Fulfill. That's why I'm using Fulfill. They're investing in customer support, making sure the product is usable and staying at the top of the e-commerce industry. If you need an ERP and you cannot afford or will not pay for NetSuite, Fulfill is my option of choice. Thank you so much.
So basically, for everybody joining us, we have a chat group, and at this point, not really profound discussion in the chat group, but it's mostly us posting videos of us working out. So it's a safe place for us to all. Sean has now set the bar, both literally and figuratively, with his pull-ups.
It's called sharing wins, dudes. Sharing wins.
That's right.
Dude, yeah, there's no bigger win than 10 clean chin-ups in a row. But I'm getting blown out of the water, dude. I was shocked when I saw Mike. We have a lot of young guys in a different chat, and Mike is killing them. Jonathan does beautiful chin-ups, but I think you're right up there with it, man.
Well, I was actually kind of embarrassing because I was like, I can rip 20 off, and I got to 18 with decent form. And I was like, that's all I've got. And then I started thinking about it today because I was a little bit sore. I'm like, why did I get to 18? Why am I sore? And I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't gotten to do any kind of pull exercises in 4 weeks because of life. It's just the nature of having young kids and running a business that, you look up and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I haven't been able to lift nearly as much as I wanted to.
And you've got a gym in your damn office, don't you?
I know. I've got everything set up to be able to exercise as much as possible, and it's still hard.
Bro, I have the chin-up bar at my house.
Yeah, I've seen Sean. Yeah, Sean's doing it inside. He's got like the door frame chin-up bar. Where was that? Were you at Kampai warehouse or something when you were doing those? Where did
Yeah,
that video
I
come
was at
from?
I was at the candy factory, which I think we're both investors in, and dude, I mean, it's so funny because they make like the most beautiful, whimsical candy, and it is in like the most depressing place you've ever been. He and I mean, look, dude, shout out Isaac because he like it's a multi-million-dollar run rate like per month in the first 6 months or whatever, totally fucking crushing it. But you go to East LA and then you go into an it's an old abandoned like a mental hospital, like they were doing like experiments on patients there, and then he's in the basement. So he's in the basement of the mental hospital. There's no windows, like the ceilings are like 6 feet tall. Like me and Isaac are pretty short, so we can walk around, but like dude, if you guys were in there, you're ducking, dude. It's very funny. That's where he's making all the candy.
These are the operator's secrets. If you want to save money on rent, all you have to do is find a place that's literally haunted,
An
and
asylum.
you can get
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Find a place that many people have died in and that there are definitely ghosts. You'll be able to get below market rent.
Dude, yeah, I'm trying to convince him to I'm like move anywhere else because his rent. I mean, it's LA, so it's still expensive. He has 12,000 square feet, and he's like, dude, it's a great deal. I mean, it's over $20,000 or whatever, and I'm like, just move to Vegas, move to Illinois, get out of here, dude. There's no reason you need to be here doing this. There's no synergy for candy making in Los Angeles.
You know what's funny, Sean? You know, I jumped in on that cap table with you because Isaac is just a baller. And it's one of those where you're like, I don't really need to see the financials. I know you're going to make this work. But I like to watch Shark Tank, and I've watched it for years. My wife and I actually started watching it in the first or second season. So that was like 20 years ago. And it's interesting because as I've rewatched some episodes recently, you know, reruns and stuff my wife will have it on or something. I've been like, man, you know what's amazing is I get so much better deal flow and quality of deals than these guys get. Like they're literally running a national TV show where they have thousands of applicants. And I'm like, but they're not getting opportunities like this opportunity with Isaac. And it reinforced to me the power of having a great personal network, of being active on the internet, is that you really do quickly understand who like the top 0.1% are in the world. And those are the investment opportunities you want to be a part of.
Yeah. Deal flow, deal flow of any kind too. Not just like Mike, you're going to invest in. It's like any kind of opportunity, whatever, right? That's the upside. I'm just happy right now that Mike, you've just made everybody on the internet feel so great about themselves. You have a gym in your office and you still struggle to work out. Every fitness influencer can eat listening to this. That's a normal life.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. So there was a guy who mentored me in college, and one time we went to work out together, and it really, strong guy, 6'5", really good looking. He had a couple of young girls at the time, and we're working out at the gym, and on the machine next to us, there's this dude that, just his muscles have muscles, one of those guys. And, we're both noticing this guy. And after this guy walks off, he turned to me and he's like, there's times that I'm like, I wish I looked like that. I wish I was getting to lift enough to look like that. And he's like, but I realized if I looked like that, it'd be because I'd sold out my family to do it. And I was like, that's a great point. There is a point where it's like the trade-off just isn't worth it. Like, it's more important to me to be, a present parent than to have, the washboard abs, or it's more important to me to like actually be excellent as a CEO. And so it's all about trying to find that balance where you're still like caring about it and you're still investing in it, but it's also like, it makes sense in the larger like scheme of like what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah. At what cost? We don't ask that question enough. Right.
Going back to the personal network thing, I need to find an agency to shoot a video with Marquez in New York. Like I put out like this.
You still haven't found it yet, Sean? I see people tweeting at you about it.
Oh, no, well, this is the story, man. Don't ruin the ending. But like the beauty of having a personal network, I think people always ask like, why build in public? And it's because I can just tweet, hey, I need an agency, and we have like 80 awesome applicants come in, like with pitch decks, whatever. It would take my team, I don't know, fucking a week to get an eighth of that, to get a tenth of that, and then like to go through the RFP process, and I can just hand them a spreadsheet that's like, here's a bunch of people who want to work with us. Like, they understand our budget, they understand what the scope is. Go talk to them. So yeah, that is the story. So Jason, we're still looking. If you have any recommendations, I'll put it at the top of the list.
So I'll build on top
80
of
that
that.
you got
Sean.
weren't enough. You didn't find any out of the 80.
No,
you
he's
got.
83. It's the optimal
He's got a high
number.
standards, guys. But to build on top of that thought, Sean, like the thing about having a personal network is that you literally get opportunities that never go to the market. So like this Isaac thing, Isaac, you know, like you've got to be in a certain kind of like relationship and competency to even be able to get into certain cap tables. And this is the thing I think people don't understand about outperforming the market or, you know, angel investing or whatever, is that the very best deals aren't just like shopped to everybody. They're shopped to like friends and people that can add value. And so when you have a network and when you're somebody that people clearly identify as somebody who can add value, you get opportunities that are going to clearly, you know, be successful that other people just don't get a chance to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You guys want to talk Prime Day?
Totally.
Yeah, baby.
Jason, how was Prime Day?
Prime Day was pretty good. I think we're all very happy with how it went, at least at our shop. We, you know, it's been a really good year, like by anyone's standards, except like there's been a bit of a roller coaster in evergreen periods as opposed to sale periods, as we've all talked about, I think. But yeah, people came out for Prime Day. It crushed for us. I think we were up close to 50% over last year. And we didn't do anything super special. We did do some messaging on our site, pushing people to Amazon, but we didn't run paid ads. We talked about running paid ads to Amazon for a while, and we didn't. But Amazon does have a bunch of like attribution links where you get some credits. And so we had, for example, like if people got all the way to checkout and abandoned, like they got a message to like, hey, go check Amazon for like our latest deals for Prime Day. And I think that did work a bit. I think there was one other area that we did kind of push people, not in paid, but on our site and maybe in email as well. So we just ran straight 20% off. And interestingly, we usually do these virtual bundles on Amazon. And for some reason, the decision was made that we really weren't going to run deals on virtual bundles because like the bundles are what crush on our site. And I wonder if we look back, if we would have run more with virtual bundles, would we have even sold even more? But like our numbers on Amazon are pretty crazy in terms of where we rank and stuff these days. Having started this back in 2021, it's pretty impressive how important Amazon has become for us as a brand.
Yeah, the most important Amazon strategy is brand awareness off of Amazon. like that is like what, you know, Amazon sellers don't have. They're always trying to rank for like organic, just generic key terms. But the best way to rank for those terms is to have people search and buy yours off of your own brand name. And Hexclad has that in spades. I mean, Hexclad probably has one of the best Amazon SERP pages around. They're crushing it. I'm sorry, Hexclad. You guys are fucking top notch. We should probably expand on the like the affiliate commission. Amazon's paying people to drive your own traffic. So there's a 15% Amazon referral fee. Like that's just built into the platform. If you have a sale on Amazon, they take 15% of it. They're giving you 10% if you drive traffic to Amazon. So the effective fee goes down to 5%. So if you run ads or send emails or whatever else, we also took advantage of that this year. We put those links in all of our SMSs, our emails, and we pushed a lot of people to Amazon. And I mean, I think we ended up getting back, 5 figures in revenues, something like that. But like we're gonna end up getting, you know, I guess into our bank account. I don't know how they fucking pay for that, but have you guys played around with that at all? Jason, are you gonna do more of that?
We are definitely working with. We're big in affiliate. We have a really good affiliate leader at Hexclad, and so we are working Amazon affiliates hard. I think I have to dig deeper.
Cool. And then Mike, you don't do any of that fun stuff, right? Because you're all first party.
Well, it's like the problem with us again is the price point. We're still trying to figure out what are the things that work for us and what don't. I mean, affiliate is a good example where it's like, hey, how much, extra margin is there to be able to incorporate affiliates? We're still trying to figure that out. There's parts of our business, like back to school is an example, where our AOV goes up quite a bit, where it can make more sense. But from our end, the Prime Day was really big. Without sharing sales numbers, a couple of like the impressive things. We were the 387th most searched term on Amazon during Prime Day, which to me is just bonkers. Like that was ever even possible. Jason, I looked it up. I think you guys had a top 600 term. You guys crushed it also.
Wow.
Obviously.
What about me? Did you look up me?
I did look up Ridge, and it was you were there. You were on there, Sean.
Sean was. Yeah. Sean
will give you a participation trophy.
People did search for Ridge. I can confirm that. No, you guys are building it too. I looked at all four of you. I thought about doing a tweet about how the operators were taking over the Amazon search rankings, but my impressive stat from Prime Day was I think we sold about 20 shipping containers worth of stuff over the 48 hours. And that is that's a ton of stuff. So anyway, lots of customers.
How did you guys, we saw a lift offsite this year on Pila Case, which I thought was interesting. That's not normal. So we don't do anything on Amazon on Pila. There's a whole other host issues there. But this year I was actually really pleased with what we saw on D2C. And even the lead up to it, we had a really strong July so far in Pila Case, up 45, 55% most days. So I was just the customer is clearly deal centered.
Well, and they're kind of primed to buy too, I think, Matt. I think one of the things you could say about Amazon, and maybe this really confirms their status as the leader in retail, they basically just said, 7 or 8 years ago, we're going to make up a fictional holiday. And then gradually over 7 or 8 years, they've gotten everybody to just believe that this is a time when you should shop. In the middle of July, they've just basically convinced everybody. And then this year, if you looked at the deals, they got all the biggest brands. They had several major Apple deals better than I had seen before. So they created a fake holiday in the worst month of the year and convinced everybody this is a time when they needed to buy more stuff. And then they got all of the biggest brands to capitulate and be a part of it. That's super impressive. But I think, like you're saying, we saw even on our D2C offering, we saw, really big lift, and we ran a kind of a promotion on one of those days with free embroidery for our backpacks. And we saw massive numbers. So it does seem like they've just kind of reprogrammed the American consumer to think that this is the time I should buy things.
Yeah. I want to talk about being more deal centric and D2C strength. So we started Prime sales on our .com. I mean, a week before or 10 days before, coming out of July 4th. And that was definitely the correct decision. And we kept the sale going for it's ending this morning. So an extra 7 days or whatever. So we had a promo offer for probably 20 days of the month or something. Totally the correct decision, because people seem very, very deal hungry right now. We try to run more or less a full price brand, and we've been raising prices since 2018 or whatever, and we've been able to move up market pretty drastically. And now it just seems that people, if you have pricing power, you should probably cash in on it. People are just so deal centric. Even at the highest end retailers, Gucci having a summer sale, people are just way more deal centric. And by cutting prices a little bit, I mean, we saw triple digit growth, right? I'm putting up Jason numbers. And in that, what I was so surprised of is that Prime Day year over year was still pretty good, but it's just the week before and the week after, by leaning into the deals. I had my biggest day of the year yesterday, right? So
really,
yeah,
that's got to be really unheard of for you guys, because I mean, Father's Day is a super tough comp for the middle of July, right?
Totally. We're putting up Father's Day numbers this week, like this week, just by being more deal centric. And like when I think
Man.
other people aren't doing that. So I would plan for next year that like treating like the post Father's Day Prime Day period as like a Q5, like people discount pretty aggressively
Yeah.
end of year into January. I think this is just the second time to have like blowout clearance. So
So basically July is just a sales month in your mind.
totally. So I mean, our biggest success this month is just being more deal centric, which it's a pretty easy fucking strategy to copy. Just I'm gonna charge less for my thing and sales are gonna go up. It's pretty basic, but it seems like that's what the consumer's expecting right now.
All right. I want to talk about Postscript for a minute. We switched to Postscript a few months ago, and the transition was completely seamless. And I have to say, like, the level of commitment they have to their clients is exceptional. They chased us for a really long time. So we're using their SMS platform, and it's gone off without a hiccup. Like I said, they're really committed to us. The pricing was very reasonable, and they are working on some really cool stuff with AI, and I think we should expect an announcement from that pretty soon. So check out Postscript if you're new in SMS.
Sean, can you maybe just elaborate on? I'd love to hear from each of us the way that you think about running deals and discounting so that you simultaneously goose sales, but also protect margins as much as possible. That for us, that's been one of the big parts of the strategy is how do you get the juice of people being like, oh, it's on sale, but give up as little margin as possible in the process and hopefully, do as little brand equity damage as possible. So how do you guys approach it for Ridge, Sean?
Yeah. So what we used to do is that we would just pick 4 peak holidays out of the year and just discount whole store coupon code 15% or 20%, something like that. We're getting smarter, and I think next year we're not going to do that. The way we're going to solve it is through seasonality. So like what we're doing right now is we have some collab wallets with Travis Matthew that came out like 2 years ago or something. Like it was a collab we did. We pushed it in their stores. It was really cool. Part of the contract was like we had to buy 10,000. So we bought 10,000 of them and they only wanted like 800 of each. So we ended up having fucking like 9,000 of these 3 different SKUs. And they were selling well throughout the year at full price. We would sell like, 10 a day or whatever. But we ended up hiring like a new merchandiser. She's like, okay, well, we have 2 years of this inventory on hand. What do you want to do with it? And we don't really care about turning inventory that often. Our stuff doesn't go out of style. Like it's not really all that seasonal, but it's summer and we're like, okay, I guess we'll just discount that. And what we've seen is that it went from selling 10 a day to several hundred per day by dropping the price on those. And this is like seasonality in a business. So in the future, we're going to have 6 wallets that we just never discount. That's the core line of the business. And then we'll just launch new stuff and then we'll keep it full price for 3 to 6 months. And then we'll slowly start discounting it. And that's just what every other fashion company on earth does. And so it's just trying to like get more in line with what everybody else does and having a core set of business, right, that you're not going to discount. Black and white t-shirts is the equivalent. And then having, or, like a Burberry scarf, like they're not going to try to discount that. Or there's like certain like, cornerstone pieces that are like, people should be buying at full price, black luggage or something like that. And then we're just going to have a bunch of fun, wacky stuff we do. And then slowly over time, that gets discounted. So protecting margin, we're not that worried about. Our margins are just like, even if I'm selling wallets at half off, the margins are probably beating everybody here. But yeah, that's the way we're kind of thinking about it.
Sean, we've landed at the same place with Pila is rather than try to do like site-wide often, we're taking more of a merchandising approach. I think, Mike, I got this from you. It's, everything shouldn't be full price all the time is kind of where we landed. Like, and we came at this from a less the customer is deal centric now and more, there is always a significant percentage of people in market who will buy if they feel like they're getting a deal. Mm-hmm. So if you always run at full price, you are basically saying, I'm eliminating this part of the market. Like it doesn't matter. They're just never going to shop until they feel like they're getting a deal. Right.
Yeah. We had to build that muscle internally to launch new stuff But like, for instance, we've built it now. In the next 3 weeks, we're launching 3 new wallet styles. And in the previous 3 weeks, we've launched 5 new wallet styles. So we're adding all the newness. And then it's just choosing what you want to get rid of. And then like having a
Yep.
timeline, like putting up with that. There's challenges if you do this. You have to think about like wholesale relationships and then Amazon. If something's on Amazon, you never really want to get rid of it because like it's such a fucking pain in the ass. Like
Yeah.
there's going to be a ghost listing there forever. It's really hard to remove those things. So because of that, you end up having a pared down Amazon offering. So just some stuff to think about if you're going to get into like a true fashion style business.
Mhm.
Yeah. So a couple of principles that we've learned. I think one is that there's a certain demographic that is just very motivated by new, which Sean just mentioned with new product releases. And new is what gets them to come to your site. And then there's another demographic where they're just very motivated by the idea of saving. It's interesting. Years ago, we did an RFP with a lot of the national ad agencies, and one of them walked through. They had some kind of a 20 box matrix of the different kind of customer motivation types. And the reality is, like, some people, for example, like they buy things with the expressed purpose of being able to tell other people, look at this thing I bought and what a good deal I got. Like, that's the most important thing to them. More than product quality, it's to be able to signal to other people, I'm smart because I bought this thing on deal. So you have to remember that people are motivated differently. And I think new and I think discount definitely motivates a significant chunk of consumers. One of the things that's interesting, though, is that a lot of times what motivates somebody to click on an email or to go into your listing is not what they'll actually do behavior wise. And a good example of this is on Amazon. When we run deals, we almost never at this point will discount everything in a listing. So somebody might click into a listing. We might have 100 SKUs between the different sizes and different colors, but we might put 15 of those on sale for Prime Day or 20 of those on sales. And then shockingly, like, yeah, those things will outsell the ones that are at full price. But it's kind of crazy how many full priced items you'll still sell. You sell way more of the full priced items than you normally would, and you don't take nearly the margin hit. So what Sean's talking about here, this kind of layering, it's really effective. Another thing that I think has helped us quite a bit when it comes to discounting is that we've tried to segregate SKUs by channel. So Target has different SKUs than Walmart, has different SKUs than Amazon. When you have the same SKUs in a bunch of channel, what ends up happening is if you on Prime Day, you take the price of one from $50 to $40, the next morning you've got 3 voicemails from a buyer that's pissed off because they're at 50 in store. And they're like, hey, you're undercutting me on Amazon, and this is terrible. So the more that you can separate your SKUs and what you offer in each channel, the more agency you can have in terms of where you discount without creating channel conflict and frustration throughout.
It's
Have you
important to
found
talk.
that to be true, Mike, with even if it's like the same sort of form factor of a piece of drinkware, it's like, this is the whatever your what's it called, the Trek, what's your
Yeah.
thing called, the
Yeah.
Trek, it's like that but in a different color in a different channel. Well, they would not consider that conflict.
It depends. I mean, one of the things to remember is that the world is big. There's a lot going on, and a buyer's ability to monitor things is going to be usually highly algorithmic. Unless
Yep.
you're like just crushing it, you're the most important thing to them. Then they might be using more of a qualitative filter. So the first thing is, as a brand, you just want to avoid algorithms getting you and price matching going on at kind of a computer based level. And that'll happen all the time. Like, at this point, if you've got the same SKU in different places and they're at different prices, you really run the risk of one algorithm just saying, hey, it's $29.99 over there, I'm dropping price to match. But the other thing we're starting to see is that they're adding more intelligence. They're using some of these kind of machine learning AI capabilities where if you use, like, for example, the exact same photo on 2 different websites, even if it has different SKUs, then sometimes these algorithms will be like, oh, that's the same thing because they're using the exact same photo, and we can now match that price. So you do have to be different on a SKU level. That's like table stakes. The more qualitatively different you are, the better, is what I would say.
Jason, for Hexclad, you guys your evergreen seems to be very focused on bundles. Would that be correct? Like on D2C?
Our hero products are sets.
Yep.
Because of the AOV, and it just makes sense. And there are some people that only want to buy one piece to test it out, but by and large, if you're buying cookware, it's like, yeah, let me get a set. That's always been the strategy, and that really helps our ability to acquire customers at a higher number than lots of other brands who have a lower AOV.
Yeah. I got asked this question last week by somebody, I can't remember who at this point. I had a lot of calls last week on pricing and like pricing strategy and promo strategy, which is kind of why I posted the question in the chat, right? It's like, how do you guys plan around these big moments and the hangover that comes after? But price really does, for a lot of D2C companies and brands, seems to be very much a cost up exercise instead of what's the ideal price or offer that lets me acquire the most amount of customers and the most total contribution dollars, not like where I've gotten caught is in contribution margin percentage in the past.
That doesn't pay the bills, right? It's penny profit. Sean, one of the best things that Sean ever said to me, I don't know if I've told him this, and it's so obvious what I'm about to say, but like if I hadn't thought about it, and so I'm going to say it to everybody listening to this, is that when somebody's on your website, one of the biggest things that is different than like say a Walmart or a Target or an Amazon is that you control everything they're seeing. And so you are framing and anchoring the way they think about price points. And that's actually like insanely powerful. That what I have found is that the price sensitivity works a lot different with D2C than it does with Amazon, because the frame of reference that they're using to evaluate all of your products is totally different. So a $10 price increase on Amazon might, drop our sales by 25%, but it might drop them by 7% on our D2C website, simply because the other things they're looking at, which creates some real opportunity when it comes to discounting. Because again, I don't know that it's as much the percentage discount. Like, people aren't these fully rational economic actors. It's just the fact that they're like, oh, this wallet used to be $130 and now it's $110. Well, 4 months ago, it might've been $110 every day, but they just raised prices. Like, it doesn't matter. Like the reality is you get to control the frame that customers are evaluating things on your website. And that the main reason why discounting works, I think, in the D2C universe is because it just signals to somebody, I can get something for less than I can usually get it for.
Yeah. And like, it's a good time, right? Now, I want to bring up the whole point Matt just made about like cost of exercises. Yeah, I don't think people think about pricing, as thoroughly as they should. Here's a real world example. We just went through this July. We sell rings, and we sell a fuck ton of rings. Like, we'll do multiple millions of dollars this month in rings, and we have two different types of rings. There's like, there's premium and non-premium. So non-premium is just like black, gunmetal, whatever, right? And those are, I think, normally like $175. They're on discount for 20% off. I think right now they're like 140 to 150. And the premium ones are like 250 or 300, and they're discounted to like 235, right? And the premium ones are gold and silver and platinum, whatever. And those are incredibly popular because people want a gold ring, right? But during sale periods, like, the share that they make up actually goes down, right? Because 235 is a horrible price point. And that's what I was trying to explain to the team. I'm like, yeah, I know we want to say rings are 20% off. We should discount the premium ones more than 20%. We should make them 30% off, so they're $195. And they're like, that's weird for messaging. Like, well, there's different discounts. I'm like, I'm telling you, we will sell way more at 195. And that's just because 235 is a bad price, right? We lowered it to 195. We 2x'd the amount of premium rings we sold.
So
right?
I've got an interesting story about this, Sean. You're absolutely right. Like, price points, it's not rational, right? Like, it's not rational the way that people behave. And the quicker that you realize that most people are kind of this combination of semi-rational and then just kind of emotional, the better you are at business. we ran a website years ago that it was a really interesting model. Basically, like the website constantly had auctions going on it, and the price on that auction would start at like 100% of, quote MSRP, and then it would tick down by a few cents every second. And internally, we had kind of a point where the auction would end. If nobody had bid on it, it would just end and it would go away. But what we were able to do is like over like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of data points, we were able to watch how people bid and how price points impacted them. And basically, what we found was that the willingness to bid just kind of was almost like a straight line, how it would go up as price went down, except when you broke a major point. Like when you went from $20 to $19.99, instead of being a straight line anymore, there'd just be like a little gap up. And then when you went from $10 to $9.99, again, a gap up. And that's exactly what you're saying, that sometimes there's just these mental things that, a ring being $201 versus $199.99 shouldn't matter, right? But it matters a ton just in terms of perception. And so looking at absolute price points people are being asked to pay is one way that you can discount more intuitively.
Yeah, I mean, we just did this A/B test, and I sold 2x as many premium rings with a slightly bigger discount. And if you just go on your website, anybody listen to this, and if there's like a price like there's a whole like no-go zone, and it's like 160 to 180, like why are you putting anything at that price? That's a horrible price. We have to fix it on our website too. We fall in these traps all the time because like you have margin goals, you have precedent, you want to go in there and match them, but yeah.
Why
That's
are
an
those bad
interesting.
price
That's an
points?
interesting one. Like it would be. It's so simple, but it would be really interesting to like list out what are the dumb prices that
I was
you
going to
should
say, Sean,
never
enlighten us.
you should
What
never
do you see
use.
as dumb prices?
We used to have a whole category of wallets at $110. And I'm like, who is this helping? I'm like,
That always seemed random to me, Sean. I'm glad you called that out, because like the first time I saw it, I'm like 110. Like, pick a horse, 100, 125. Like, why this random $10?
yeah, so all the 110 ones either went to 95 or 125. And actually, I hate 125 on our website. I've been pushing to get rid of 125. I'm like, it should just be 150. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm like, as soon as you get to 3 bills, like the only way to buy that is like 3 bills. Is like, it's not good math. It's not good.
We could do a whole episode on this, by the way. Seriously, I mean, I think it's that important. It's something that everyone talks about all the time, like how you price things. What even like the .99, versus
Yeah.
versus
Well,
zero.
there's so much not even psychology, pricing muscle that's like 50 to 100 years old.
Yeah. This is what I fight with Connor about all the time. Okay, so our carry-ons are $345, and he wants them to be $295 so bad. Like literally every week we get into a spat about it, and I keep being like $295 is the same as $345, and he's like, no, the data is that people convert 40% better when it's $295. And I'm like, yeah, but guess what, Connor? If it's $345, I can discount it to $295.
Okay, so this is so big, Sean. We've got to stop here, because this is actually one of the very biggest things that I've learned. Like, do you take an everyday low price strategy, or do you build a pricing strategy in light of the promotion that you're going to do? And early on with Simple Modern, it was all everyday low price. Like we're just trying to say what's a great price. And I am really starting to see the wisdom in instead saying, what is a price that gives me the room to run the killer sales at the key points in the year? And that's kind of what you're saying, is that if you run it $295 every day, yes, you're going to sell more. But if you run it $345, whatever, 80% or 90% of the days, and then in really key periods, if you take it down to $295, you might actually do better on the whole. Is that what you're saying?
Totally. And yesterday was our biggest travel day ever. So we just had an all-time high record on travel sales. And it's because we have 3 colors at $345 and 1 color at $295. And people can opt in and buy the $295 one if they want. But if everyone was $295, what we saw happening is everyone just wants to buy the exact same fucking color, and then we sell out of that color way too fast, and then we have to turn ads off. So,
well, and you probably did an email that's like, look, this color's at $295, and then a bunch of people show up, and then they don't buy that color. They buy some other color. And this is the way that I think really effective brands do it. You've got to have a rabbit that people are motivated by and people are chasing, but you can often do it in such a way where that's not what they end up actually purchasing.
Because if we price it with $295, then Connor's gonna be like, we should discount one to $255, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Sounds like a marketer.
Yeah, that's what marketing always wants. So yeah, you just have to. I agree with what Mike's saying, is that you should build in the ability to discount. I'm not saying fucking jack up your prices and screw your customers over, because I think our carry-on's worth $495, and I keep trying to get the price raised even more, right? But happy with where it is right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Operator's Northbeam ad unit. So 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you all about how, if you have any problems with Northbeam, you can directly message Austin, the CEO. He is there. He will set up your ad account. He will make your bet. He'll give you cookies. Really, they have a dedicated team of people, probably 30, 40, 50 reps at this point, who will make sure Northbeam is working correctly and functioning so you can get amazing data out of this ecosystem. They will be more hands-on than any meta rep will ever be, and they're going to help you understand where your ad dollars are best spent, best positioned, and which ads are working. My team works with the Northbeam team literally every day. They're in my Slack. Maybe you don't get the same level of support as an operator, but they will be there to make sure it's working. And if you're not happy at all, just email Austin. He will take care of you. We use Northbeam every day. It's a benchmarking tool. It's super helpful for forecasting, daily pacing, inter-hour pacing. So we can see, like, if we just launched an ad in 2 hours, if it's working or not. That's what Northbeam does for us. So thank you, Northbeam, for the support. I'm customer probably number one. So thank you so much.
One thing to add regarding Northbeam, because we just went through a contract renewal with them on their specifically on the MMM. And we got a pretty sweetheart deal, and I expect them to come back to us and raise our price, and they kind of deserve it. I was like, let me reach out to the team, and see how it's going, right? Because I'm not in the day to day. I get feedback, and the team was like, they have improved the MMM so much since we started it that they were like, we should definitely pay for this increase. So. And my team hates every agency and most SaaS. The only person that hates SaaS, the only more than my team, is Sean Frank. But yeah, I mean, they came to us. They're like, hey, you guys got the sweetheart deal. We were one of the first MMM clients. And I was very, very pleased when my team was like, it's really working well for us. So that's my little MMM plug.
One of the questions I have is, I wonder if what makes certain prices kind of no-go zones is that they don't really map to anything. Like, nothing gets priced there. Like when you said 180, I'm like, what else costs $180? And there's just like nothing that pops into my mind. And that I wonder if, to some extent, we like to kind of compare things like, okay, this is going to cost $50. What else costs me $50? Okay, a meal here. Okay, this video game or whatever. Like, okay, this makes sense as good value. And when you get into these atypical price points, you really can't play that game.
Yeah, dude. Like 180, 225, both of those should just be 195, and people would buy it at an increased rate.
Is it over 200, Sean, that things just start to get a little more murky for you?
Yeah. I mean, like, what we found is that, like, once you get above 200, it's like there's a small natural stop at 250. There's a small natural stop at 295, but you can basically take that all the way up to 395, and it's essentially the same, right? Like the conversion curve. Yeah, the conversion curve there is like really, really low.
Well, and there's a point that I want to make here, going back to this kind of nominal profit, contribution profit. Sean's, your issue is your margins are so thick that going, like, if your margins are whatever 80 or 90% at $300, even if going up to 325 doesn't create that much drop off in conversion, it can come out net, neutral or negative when it comes to contribution profit. For us, because our margins are smaller, there are a lot of situations where it's like, hey, if we raised price $10 here and we took a 20% hit on conversion or a 30% hit on conversion, we're still going to come out way better on contribution profit. And so you have to think about that conversion rate change in light of your contribution profit. And if your margins are low, almost for sure, there are places where you should raise price, because the hit that you're going to take to contribution, or the hit that you're going to take to conversion, is going to be outweighed by contribution. And I, for a long time, thought that it was kind of like morally wrong to charge higher prices or to have higher margins. And I've kind of worked myself out of that. And the main reason why is your business exists to serve customers, and it cannot do that without profit. It can't invest in new products. You can't have good people on your team. You can't fulfill your mission of serving customers if you don't make profit. And it is your responsibility to price your product where you can make the profits that you need to take really good care of the customers and your team and the shareholders and everybody that you're responsible to. And you should do it. And you shouldn't feel bad about it. Like whatever that takes. Ridge has done an amazing job of raising prices. And I think one of the takeaways is that, Sean, by you guys raising prices, you created the profitability to invest in all kinds of products, to do all kinds of very cool things that you wouldn't have been able to do if you were selling whatever $75 Ridge wallets.
Dude, okay. Wallets are such a bad category. I bring this up all the time. So we're close with the largest wallet maker in the world. They're a privately held company. They're the Exotica of wallets. And if you buy a wallet on Amazon, they make it. So they do Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, every fucking designer brand wallet is made by these people. And I was talking to him just last week, and we're on the phone, and he goes, wallets are the worst fucking business. And he goes, wallet sales are down 35% year over year.
Wow.
And he's like the future is belts. And two points there. One, it's so fucking funny that I'm in such a antiquated industry that like people are talking about AI, people are talking about like, robotics, automation, whatever. And like the big unlock in our industry is belts, like the fucking piece of leather you put around your pants. And the second thing is, because it was on Prime Day, I was talking to him, and you go on there and Tommy Hilfiger is selling a wallet for $15, right? That's a great brand. Like Tommy Hilfiger is a crusher brand, like legacy, awesome. And their their solution is like, yeah, sales are down so much, we're gonna go so low in price and just try to move units. And I'm like, oh, you're not making any. If you're selling a product on Amazon for $15 during Prime Day, you're not making any money on that product, with fees, with ads, with everything else. And yeah, the real power of Ridge is we've been able to create a product that people are willing to pay a lot of money for, right? Like, 10 Tommy Hilfiger wallets or one carbon fiber Ridge wallet. People are buying more of ours. So anyway, that's just like the challenges of the categories. That the biggest player is banging their head against the wall trying to get out of the business.
What are you guys? I'm curious. What is your view on the memory of a customer when it comes to a discount, a promo, an offer? Where do you guys sit there? Because that's when you hear about the pricing strategy and discount strategy, immediately the argument is, yeah, but what about brand?
You've got to be such a big, iconic brand for people to know your price points. Like, I mean, if we played a game and it's funny, actually, I was thinking, this is funny. I'm like literally looking at the screen and I'm like, I like this shirt. I like how this shirt looks on me. I'm going to buy more of this shirt. I bought some from it 2 months ago, right? And I bought off their D2C websites. I guess they were a Shark Tank company, and that's how I saw it. And so I was just thinking about it. So anyway, I'm like, I have no idea what I paid for the shirt. None. You could tell me a number between $50 and $110, and I'd be like, sounds good to me. And this is the way that most customers are. Most customers, like, I know what Apple products cost, but outside of that, like, we overestimate how much mind share we have with people all the time. And they're just not going to remember. They're not going to remember your name, the name of your products. They're not going to remember the price point they paid from you. They've got very short attention spans, very short memories, unless you're, at a level that, the behemoths.
Yeah. So I know we're going to talk about giveaways. I don't know if we have enough time, but 2 years ago, we gave away this guy, Marco. He won a Bronco from us. All right. And he shows to pick it up. We have a camera crew there. It's like, he brings his family. He's a Marine. Like, it's like an awesome, heartwarming story. And I'm like, yeah, dude, what wallet did you buy to get this? He's like, I don't know. he doesn't know what he bought. He doesn't know how much he paid for it. And the motherfucker's getting a free car from us, right? And I'm like, do you have it? He's like, yeah. He's like, whatever this one is. And like, I think you look at your website too much. You spend too much time talking to each other about price. Every dollar is like excruciating, raising her up or down. Your customer, you'd be so lucky if they remember your name. Like, I will see people and they don't know what wallet they have, and they've been a loyal customer. They've bought from us 4 times. Like, they have no fucking idea. They're like, oh yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just kind of like
That happens to us all the time. I'll meet somebody, be like, what do you do? I tell them, they text me like 3 hours later. They're like, hey, we've got like 10 of your things in our cabinet. And I didn't even know. It's called spotlight bias. We always assume people think about us and are looking at us more than they are. Like, people are self-interested. They're thinking about their own life. They're only thinking about you or your brand for short periods of time. And so it's like, go for it. Go for it on split testing that new price. Go for it on trying that really crazy sale for 2 days. Nobody's going to remember in 4 weeks. Like, think about the news cycle we're in. It feels like some of the stuff in the news cycle that happened 7 days ago happened 7 weeks ago or 7 months ago. There's no way that people are going to remember the price you had on some kind of wallet, in a week.
totally.
I like it. Look, guys, we're running out of
Contest.
time. So
I want to hear
want to go
contests.
here?
I want to hear
Contest?
about contests, because Jason said they're going to do it. Sean, you guys have done this for several years. Maybe Sean, like, just tell us about the annual contest you do, why you do it, how you measure effectiveness. And then Jason, I'd love to hear how you guys are applying the idea this year.
All right, it's a 5-minute speed run then, because I gotta jump in 5 minutes. So, all right, here's the high level. I stole this idea from somebody I heard at a conference. So in 2020, I went to some ecom conference, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he was like, he built his whole business doing this. They would give away cars. The whole thing is like, they had a bunch of generic goods. They would give away cars, and like, every dollar you spent would be an entry into it. And this was 2020. I'm like, oh, that's a good fucking idea. I love cars. Like, this is like the year I got a Jeep. We all had Jeeps. We'd go off-roading all the time. So I'm like, I'll just test it. We went to, just a dealership and bought a Gladiator, and it was already souped up. So like, and then me and Connor took it out to the desert and just filmed me jumping it and shit, doing some crazy stuff with a small crew, and then we used some law firm to just like do a sweepstakes. I don't even know how I got the fucking contact information. I just found somebody and they just did it. So basically the way it works is like, you can enter for free, you can write in on a piece of paper, or you can email, or you can sign up with phone number, whatever. Those give you entries. And then every dollar you spend, you get more entries. And then if you buy special products for collabs, you get more entries. Mm-hmm. So we put it out there. The first one did really well, and it was just really fun because just like every other ecom brand, like, we don't have nothing to talk about in the summer. There's Prime Day, but then like August and September are kind of just like dragging out until you get into Q4. We just needed a non-discount promo to run, so that's why we came up with it. So the first year did pretty good. Then we built on in the second year. We did a partnership with Hennessy. Just like, I'm friends with the team over there. They make awesome fucking cars, and they're just like a great American brand, very similar to Ridge. So we did a partnership with Hennessy. We did collab wallets with them. That really kicked it off because we could have Hennessy film videos. We had Hennessy, they're 2 million social followers. Like, it was more like an influencer integration, like really in depth. Last year, we pushed it even further. So, it was still a Bronco, still with Hennessy, but we started bringing in our influencers. So we would like ship their car around to all these different car YouTubers, and they would like, shoot content with it, have a lot of fun. And then this year, by the time you listen to this, hopefully it's out. It's bigger and better than it's ever been. So we're giving away 2 cars. So we have the Hennessy F-150 Raptor. So we still do a collab with Hennessy. Then we have a Cybertruck we're giving away, and it's not just a normal Cybertruck. We had Jerry Rig Everything, which is like a big tech YouTuber, gold plate it. So we have a gold plated Cybertruck. We're selling cyber inspired wallets. We're selling the Hennessy collab wallets, and we're trying to go above and beyond. Like, we're putting it in more content, more influencers, more videos. Our whole idea has always been that, like, we think sweeps could be a second Father's Day. So, we do 8-figure quarters by this point, but Father's Day is typically the second biggest quarter of the year, and we think this can tie whatever we do for Father's Day. So that's the goal this year. It was just a non-discount promo period, and it's kind of evolved every year. This is the 4th time we're doing it. Yeah, and it's just, we think it's kind of fun, dude. Also, a chance to shoot the best content we've ever shot. I don't know if you guys have ever shot wallets for 10 years in a row, but like it's kind of the most boring thing you could possibly shoot.
Can't
like,
say I have.
Yeah, you guys, like, I think I'm jealous. Jason can like just cook food all day, make amazing content, amazing shots. And we're like, okay, we're going to put the wallet on a table this time. So this gives us a chance to get a little bit out there in the world.
So just to wrap it up on the giveaway, something that we've been thinking about, and obviously we're all very close with Ridge at Hexclad, and we've seen how successful their giveaway has been. And I love how you kind of pick a time of the year that's not the most robust. And, given our space in the kitchen, and we got this Gordon guy, we're doing something really fun. I'm not allowed to say what it is yet, but, we're taking a page out of the Ridge book. And let's just imagine it has something to do with your kitchen. And it has something to do with some cool stuff with Gordon Ramsay. And going back to sales and Prime Day, it's like I kind of feel like what we do is we kind of follow the typical retail calendar. When you got President's Day, and then you've got Mother's Day, and then you've got Memorial Day, and then you've got Father's Day, and in the cookware space, it's just always been that way. Like whatever traditional retailers do, that's what we do. So it did feel like we were on sale a lot from sort of mid-April through Prime Day. So we're going to be off sale for a while and run this giveaway. We'll do something on Labor Day, but we just follow that calendar, and it's just trying something new and fun. But the success that Ridge has had with it, I think it'll do really well for us.
Yeah, dude, and I encourage anybody to steal this idea, because I stole it from somebody, and I wish I could give the guy credit who I stole it from. I can't remember.
Like they can't remember what wallet they bought. You can't remember the guy.
Yeah,
that gave you the idea.
I said this over the weekend. Originality is forgetting where you stole something from.
Yeah, totally.
Amazing.
And the only tip I would give to people is that like you can do any giveaway you want under like $5,000, I think. But once you get above $5,000 in like, price or whatever, you have to get a license and bonded. So it costs like $8,000 to run one of these giveaways for like the cars and whatever else. So like, you don't want to do that every single week. Like, you should either run frequent small prizes or one really big prize and put it over a long period of time.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of legal that has to happen to do these things. So do things properly, folks. Don't take shortcuts. Do it right.
Totally. Well, let's end it. And if people are interested, I'll dive more into the mechanics of it on next week's episode. So take us out, guys.
That's the pod. Are we good?
That's it.
Thank you for listening to episode 69 of the Operators Podcast. Thank you for Phil. Thank you, Northbeam. Thank you, Postscript. They pay the bills. They pay for the producers. They pay for the clips. They pay for my haircuts. So thank you to those amazing sponsors. Thanks for being here and talking about Prime Day, discounting, whatever. There is a newsletter we send out. Go join that. It's very, very popular. Tens of thousands of subscribers by now. So thank you for being here. Talk to you later.